Happy first Sunday, everybody. Glad to have you all back for another first Sunday. I'm so excited. Um, we are in May. So, if you know anything about May, it is Mother's Day and it takes up the whole month. So, this first Sunday, I wanted to talk about Black motherhood in media. Um, and kind of how it's portrayed. So I wanted to do like an honorary Mother's Day kind of episode around that. And I'm so excited because we have a special guest, Dr. Steele, with us. She's the author of Unmothered by Black Mothers. So, yeah, shout out to Threads. And we are going to be kind of discussing about how Black mothers show up in media and how we kind of see it in the modern day as as we live. So I think it's a very important conversation to have. So thank you so much for joining me on the conversation.
Oh, absolutely.
If you do not know, the Parkers are Blackish. I mean, no judgment over here. But the Parkers centers around a mother and daughter who both attend Santa Monica College. Nikki Parker was forced to drop out of high school. So now she's in college, basically, with her daughter. So they're navigating that. Although Blackish is about Dre, although it's kind of that way, I thought it would be good to compare Rainbow because it's two different dynamics. So Rainbow is a doctor. She has 4 kids. She's married, and they have a little intergenerational household, going on too, which is not really that popular it's a little bit popular in TV shows, but not always that popular. Sometimes it is real life and different things like that. So those are the two shows that we'll be talking about today. And yeah, so we're just gonna have a conversation from like our questions that I have already prepared. So I hope y'all are excited, and I will let Dr. Steele introduce herself.
Yes, well, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. And first, I'll talk about who I am. I'm a daughter, period. That's my identity. I'm a daughter who happens to do brand and marketing strategy in addition to research and authoring. And my research is anchored in the experiences of Black daughters who have strained or absent maternal relationships. It is inspired by my story. It is inspired by my mother's story. And it's a conversation, and there are stories and insights that I just want our community to keep having. I think some women have been having it with in the group chat or maybe with their therapist, but I think we need to have it more broadly. And so the very first research that I did, it centers on Black adult daughters who are detached from their Black mothers. And when you are doing qualitative research, like you don't know these people. Like any woman that I talked to 17 women, and I actually call them the sagacious 17 in my book, Unmothered by Black Mothers. And I'd never met these women at all, but they were so courageous and so willing to share their stories. And so in doing research, because you have not built any rapport with the people that you talk to, you kind of have to ease your way into the conversation, especially strained mother-daughter relationships. That's a sensitive topic, right? And so I said, okay, how can I break the ice? How can we get this conversation going? And for the longest, I just kept thinking about TV moms and Black TV moms. So icebreaker question that I asked every woman that I talked to was, if you could choose to be raised by a TV mom, which one would you pick and why? And so, yes, it was a great way for them to get comfortable with me, for us to laugh and kiki. But the reason why I chose that specific question was because it taught me what they did not receive from their mothers, the attributes that they were looking for in their mothers, or the ones that they wanted to demonstrate themselves with their own kids. And since then, I have just been on this Black TV mom journey because it's a big part of Black culture. When we talk about specific TV moms, and it's just a fun conversation that I like to have. So that's how we got here.
Yes, definitely. I think you're kind of breaking generational curses when you say like that. I personally don't know that many people that are talking about it. So that's why I was also interested in when I seen your story, because I have friends and different things like that. When I talk about different things, everybody doesn't have the same story. So
Mhm.
sometimes it could be who you're around, who you hang around, or like your family, but it's like people have different stories, but we're not always heard that story. And I think with even Mother's Day, like it's literally like a whole month. Like I was shopping last month and they already had Mother Day stuff out there. Like it's like so much, but it's like what happens to that part? Like if you don't have that good mother-daughter relationship, it's like you really have to like grieve that and like navigate those different things. And so I think it's also important in that aspect as well too. So yeah, thank you so much for even doing the research and putting stuff
Mhm.
out there. I was gonna say who I know the three TV mothers. Who did they choose that they would want most
Okay.
research?
It was a tiebreaker between Claire Huxtable
Mm-hmm.
and Aunt Viv, dark skin Aunt Viv, because that's very important.
Okay. Yeah.
That is very important. But you know what? I made the assumption, and you should never assume, especially as a researcher, but I did assume that they all were going to choose Black TV moms, and they did not. Some of them chose some
Oh.
white TV moms. So
Mm-hmm.
one person said Rebecca Pearson from This Is Us.
Mm-hmm.
Another person said, oh my gosh, it's the mom from Bob's Burgers. Her name is slipping me.
Oh.
But quite like not only within the research, but even when I've talked about it on social media, people have referenced her. And I was like, oh, okay, like
Right?
fine. But it just goes to show, regardless race, ethnic background, there's just some characteristics and qualities that just makes a mom a good mother.
Yes, most definitely. Well, we have some people in the comments. I'm going to share some of their stuff.
Okay.
Hello, thank you for joining. Support the channel. Hey, hey, Doctor Steele. It's
Yes, Linda Belcher.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That's my best friend. I'm not even gonna act like that's not
Oh,
my friend. That's my best friend. Thank you, Bess. Linda Belcher.
yes.
That's her name. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining. So, y'all, let us know before we get into the conversation. Let us know if you have a favorite TV mom. It got me thinking about. I was like, oh my gosh, there are so many different TV moms from like Raven Baxter. This like I don't even think about it, but when I was like looking into it, they were talking about how Raven Baxter, her mama wore her natural hair. Like that's the first time we've seen that. So I think it is so many different cultural moments that we see in media, and so I think it's very important in how we navigate that. Like, oh, I wish my mom was like this, or oh, I'm glad I didn't have this mom, or oh, even thinking about sister Jackie Harry, like being her as a mom. It's just like, okay, girl, like So I think it's so interesting to just see how Black motherhood is portrayed on social media, on TV shows.
Mhm. And social media too, because we
Yeah.
have a lot of examples of what we could do and also what
Uh-huh.
not to do because
Yes.
there are moms out there that are trifling.
Yes.
And
Most
that's just what it
definitely.
is. But yes, so
And
let's
in the nature of the good mother, it's like all moms are not good. I'm sorry to say, but all moms are not good, and that comes from social media. Now, that is that the mother influencer thing is all over. You're just like, okay, this is very interesting. Like that's how you decide to parent. So
Mhm.
yes, that is so funny. But we're gonna get into the topic. If y'all have any questions, please let us know. But my first topic, I want to really talk about the representation of Black motherhood.
Mhm.
So I want to talk about how does the Parkers portray Black motherhood differently from Blackish, and y'all can answer in the comments too. If you want me to go first, I can, or you can go first.
Up to you. You tell me.
Well, you can go. I'll let the guests go first.
Here's the thing. If I remember correctly, I don't necessarily remember Nikki Parker presenting herself as a Black mother. Like, I don't know how much being Black or Blackness was a part of the conversation of the show. It kind of just was.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, but then again, it's representation. Nikki Parker is a stereotype that we do have in the Black community, right? She was, a teen mom. She had to drop out of high school, single mother, trying to make it. And
Mhm.
so when I think of Black TV moms, Nikki Parker never came to mind.
Mm.
Ever. She never came to mind for me. Whereas Bo, yes, she was someone that I thought about, but she was never top of mind for me because she's mixed.
Mm-hmm.
And her biracialness, and even how she was still trying to navigate that as an adult, that came up in the show a lot. And I
Mm-hmm.
think if Bo was not mixed, we would have gotten a different kind of TV mom, black TV mom in
Mm-hmm.
that show versus who her character, or how her character was written, I would say.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to give too much away now, but the character, but definitely when I was watching it over, like how she's not like free, but well, basically how she was raised, how her
Mhm.
mom, you see how her mom is versus like Dre's parents, they're like boop, boop, boop. Like she was raised with less structure. So she's like, let the kids do this, let the kids do this. And then Dre's like, no, they need to know their blackness. They need to know this. But it's like, how can she teach them their blackness and she don't really know her blackness?
Yeah, that's a fair point. And then are we getting into details about specific episodes, or you want me to hold off on that? Because I do have a thought on that.
Okay, we can get into a specific episode.
So I remember there's one specific episode, and it was centered around police brutality. And in
Mm,
the episode, there was actually I believe the character, it was a white man who was acquitted after killing an unarmed black man, right? So they're talking about that, and you're seeing the family's anticipation of what the jury is going to say, right? Or what the verdict the jury's going to have. And before the jury said something, Bo had so much hope in the jury. Bo was like, it's going to be fine. Justice is going to be served. And Dre is looking at her like, man, this is America. And she's one, trying to protect the innocence of the twins, who were the youngest of the family at the time. At
mhm.
the same time, she genuinely was optimistic and genuinely had hope in the justice system. And so I was like, wow, like I don't know if Bo had both a black mother and a black father, she
Mhm,
would even have that level of optimism when it
mhm.
came to the justice system, just given the history of what we've seen here in America. And that was the first episode that made me be like, hmm, Bo, even with her being a mom, as long as she was at that point in time in the TV show, she still didn't fully understand what it meant to raise Black children and what it meant to be a Black person navigating the criminal justice system.
Yes, she's just that she's like so optimistic, like that's her personality, so optimistic. So it's like, girl, like you don't see between, she doesn't
Mhm.
see between the lines because she's never had to do that. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. I was gonna say, I think um the Parkers portray motherhood differently from Blackish. Kind of what you said is like the
Mhm.
single mother thing. Um, I necessarily didn't know that she had a baby young, but as we do see, people do have kids young. Like when I was growing up, my parents went to college while I was in like, well, not while I was in college, but like when I was in school. So it's like parents going to school later, still navigating parenthood and different things like that. I think that we do kind of sometimes see a lot of parents put their like life on hold for their kids, and then when their
Mhm.
kids get a certain age, then they get to do what they want to do. So
Mhm.
I think I kind of see that. But with Blackish, of course, it's a two-parent household. And I think earlier to what I said, it was like intergenerational. Like his dad was there sometimes. Her mom came, I mean, no, his dad and his mom was there a lot, but like I think they were divorced if I remember. But they were like
Yes, they
they
were.
just came in like different times and things like that. But I remember when I was younger that like I lived with my grandma for a little bit. So I think that that kind of shows like the support in the community that you have. We talk a lot about the village, and so I think that that's kind of what it shows differently. Like people who have a village, and then people who are just trying to like make it on their own and just.
Yeah, that's true. And I'll be honest, another difference to me is sometimes it's hard to see Nikki Parker as a mother. Whereas
Mhm.
with Bo, it's clear like she's a mother. Um, and I know part of it stems from Nikki having Kim so young, but there were a lot of times where I was like, is that your mom? Is that your sister?
Yes.
Like, is that your mom or is that your peer? And so I do think that it stunted Kim's growth and development because of how young Nikki was. And they also they were in close proximity at during a time where Kim should have been exploring who she was and her individuality and things of that nature. So I do think the position and the circumstance in which Bo is able to mother her kids versus Nikki
Mhm.
created different dynamics where one is like a clear parent child dynamic, whereas the others it just seems like peer to peer or
Yeah.
sisterly.
You're you're getting to the parenting styles. Okay, yes. We're moving along to the parenting styles. That is true. You kind of really compared it, so it was kind of good because my thing is going to be like Nikki was kind of like the cool mom, but I see this even on social media a lot. They're like, oh, people when they have kids, they're like, oh, we grew together. Oh, like he taught me like, well, my child taught me how to be a woman, different things like that. And so going back to that, it's like when you grow with your child, you're learning kind of with your child versus like with Bo, she's like, okay, like I got my degree, I got my job, I'm a doctor. Like now I'm about to have these kids, and we know we have support, and like we're navigating it kind of that way. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what I think about it. Do you uh like how do you feel about like structured versus like the unstructuredness? Like you
Well,
know.
I think all kids need structure.
Mhm,
Um, how that presents itself is going to look different because each child has different needs. You cannot treat each child the same, but structure I believe is one of the biggest gateways to stability,
mm,
right? I also think it helps produce discipline because Kim was not a disciplined
mhm,
child in a sense of like I don't remember Kim having like the drive or the grit or the tenacity to really be about her business or
mhm,
to take care of business, right? It was kind of always like, fun and games, which that is
mhm.
the nature of the show in itself. But
Uh-huh.
at some point, like you got to grow up. Whereas
Yeah.
with Bo's children, and granted they were younger than Kim was on the show, we got to see their growth and development. Now, mind you, for the longest, I did not like Zoe's character. However, Zoe was coming into her own, and when you didn't think she wasn't paying attention, she was. And
Mhm.
there were certain moments throughout the show where she would talk to her parents and be like, I listen to y'all. You see what I'm saying? And even, how she evolved and was able to come into her own in Grownish, which was the spinoff,
Yeah.
or even the twins, like especially that Diane was persistent in all the things that
Yes.
she did. She was smart as a whip,
Mhm,
she had critical thinking skills and all the
mhm.
things. And that isn't just what I saw with Kim. However, there are single parent homes where there is that structure. So I don't want to say it's because Kim was raised in a single parent home.
Mhm.
I myself, for the longest, was raised by a single father. So it has nothing to do with a single parent or not. I think it comes down to the personality and the development level and the emotional intelligence of the parent that can cultivate an environment of structure and stability for the child.
Yeah, because it wasn't that because some single mothers, they are strict, baby. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I think it could have like to the point, I think it could have been of when Nikki had her. Nikki had her at 16, like on the
Hmm.
it could be more of an age thing where it's like, oh, because Nikki could have came from very structured. Like sometimes you're the opposite of what you grow up as or whatever. She's like, okay, I'm just figuring it out. Versus Bo was like, I know this, but then also I know that Bo wasn't. I don't think she had that much structure in her, like yeah, her childhood. So she's probably like, okay, I need structure. And also, I was gonna say that I think the difference between parenting sounds are you see it like because Nikki really isn't parenting her because Nikki is still trying to figure out her life herself. But I
Yeah.
think one thing when I see it, it's like how you're talking about like Kim. I was watching episodes like Kim is just all about fun and games. She's like, oh no, I don't want to do that. No, I just want to have fun. Like, but she's very boy crazy. And then to a certain extent, Nikki is boy crazy. So I think it's like she's modeling what she sees. If Nikki was more
That's a good
serious
point.
and disciplined about her education and more stuff like that, or even if she started when she was younger, Kim would have had more different outlets. And of course, we don't have a backstory, but Nikki, Nikki is trying to get Professor Ogilvy from the
Mhm.
first episode to the that. So that's all that she sees Nikki
That's a
doing.
really good point. I never thought about how male centered
That's
Nikki was, which is important to dissect because a lot of mamas are male centered,
yes.
which that can impact the daughter in a couple different ways. But that's a really good point.
Yeah, so that's what I noticed. So I'm like, that could be it too. Like if you see, well, all they care about is boys and forget them books, that's what she's gonna go after. Versus Bo, she was not playing. You need to do your stuff. Like I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor. So I think
Oh yeah, she had a whole fit when Junior wanted to take a gap year. Like that was like in her mind, he wasn't going to college at all. Like
Mhm.
yeah,
So yeah. I don't know if I don't know if we can answer you because I don't you don't have any kids, right?
no.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
I don't have any kids, but maybe we could just do it for the show, or we
Okay.
could just kind of skip it. But it's talking about how do mothers balance their personal identity outside of motherhood. But I was like, I don't got no kids, so I can't answer that. But maybe we could do it for the show. If you think
Mm.
that do you think maybe a better question is, do you think that they balance their personal identity outside of motherhood great on the show, or do you not feel like they did?
Are you talking about like Bo
And
and
Nikki, mhm.
Nikki Parker?
Yeah.
I think Nikki did.
Oh.
One, because her child was older in a way in college, but it
Hmm.
goes back to what I was first saying. I never really saw Nikki like as a parent.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never saw her as a parent. Nikki was gonna do what Nikki wanted to do. If she wanted to chase the professor, she was wanted to chase the professor. If she wanted to get into some shenanigans, she was gonna get into some shenanigans. So
Hmm.
I do think Nikki was able to find herself outside of motherhood. Do I think she would be able to articulate who she is outside of a mother, like clearly define it into words?
Hmm.
No, because I think we were observing that process on the show.
Hmm.
With Bo, I think it's a little layered with Bo because Bo's like, I'm a doctor, I'm a doctor, I'm a doctor, I'm a doctor. So if she wasn't rooting her identity in being a mother, she sure
Hmm.
was rooting it in being a doctor.
Yes.
And I don't think you should ever root your identity in a role that can be taken away like that,
Okay.
including a doctor and being a mother, because what do you do when the kids are gone, right?
Mhm.
And so I think it was interesting um when she wasn't being a doctor when she had their youngest child Devante, and she was trying to breastfeed, and she was having a hard time doing it, and she just felt like a complete failure. And so even when she's like, this is the one thing that I am supposed to be able to do well, and she
Mhm.
couldn't do it. And so in short, to answer your question, I don't think Bo found out who she was outside of being a mother or a doctor.
Yes,
Mhm.
I agree. I think so too. Yeah, I know it's so hard because like Nikki, we just see them just like they start off with it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know if Bo balances like her identity is kind of like it's like I'm a doctor, I'm a doctor. But I think yeah, right under that it does go straight to like okay, now I'm a mother.
Mhm.
Then they had another kid. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? But I think that is kind of what their identity is. But I do feel like I feel like Bo leans on like I'm a doctor, I'm a doctor. So like she doesn't forget like people know like I'm more than a mother.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I think it's the opposite. Like, no, I'm not just here. Like, I got a real job and I'm gonna do these real things. So that's kind of what I think about it. So yeah. Um,
Mhm.
our next like segment part is socioeconomic and generational differences. We kind
Mhm.
of talked about it, touched on it. But talking about like the generational shifts because I guess the Parkers were like 90s and I feel like Blackish is like 2000. I don't quote me on the year, but it's like 2000 something. 2010.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was the 2010s. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Mhm.
And so just even that narrative that switch like, class and like financial stabilities, but even the generational shifts of like how people show up to be mothers and our lack of and then kind of just like the resources we have. Do you feel like and I guess it's kind of hard because we only see Nikki, like we didn't really talk about them if they like paid for college or like they live together though. So I'm like, do you feel like that was kind of a difference, like maybe within the generation of like them living together, and they're supposed to be in college and doing that? Do you feel like they live together because of socioeconomic versus Bo and them, they had like, I mean, her and her husband were paying bills? Or do you think, I don't think his parents was paying anything.
Yeah.
I think
So
they
I don't know if they were living together. I mean, socioeconomic status probably played a part into it, but also, and I'm just not familiar, I don't know if you can live on campus at a community college. I don't know. So
Oh no, I
maybe,
meant off. I think they were living off campus, right, together.
yes, exactly. But I don't know if there was an opportunity for Kim to live on campus
Oh,
at
okay,
a
okay, okay,
community
okay,
college,
okay. I
right?
think.
But I think there were some episodes where Nikki alluded to struggling financially. So yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. Money makes a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, we not gonna act like it doesn't. Money makes a huge difference, and in Bo's case, she didn't have to worry about it, and not just because of her husband's salary. Like, she was making good money as well, and so she didn't have the financial strain, or the challenges or limit liabilities, golly, liabilities, that Nikki had, which I think is part of the reason why we see the intergenerational household, because
Mhm.
Andre could afford to take care of his parents. Like, they both could afford it. Whereas I don't know if that would have been the case with Nikki if there was, her parents were written in the show.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's like we didn't get that background to be like, well, who raised her, and who, and also it was just like, okay, Nikki's like, I'm working 2 or 3 jobs to be able to make
Mhm.
it, versus they're like, well, our income is good, and so that's the generational shift that we see. Is like we see single motherhood, and then it's like, okay, no, like no women. Where they're going to school, they're getting good jobs, like they're becoming doctors, they're doing, so it's like now in the 2010s, now we can show two-parent households and navigating that. Not that there wasn't two-parent households, because I also remember My Wife and Kids. I really love that show. I was like, dang, I should have did that show.
Mhm.
But that was even different too. But it was a funny show. But now we're seeing like a different perspective on how it is to raise kids, because when you have more money, like Dre was so mad, but when Junior wanted to be like, when he won like he wanted to play field hockey, whatever that game was, I forgot.
Mhm.
Like being able to have the resources to like pay for all these extracurricular activities, versus we don't know if Nikki did. Um,
Yeah,
like, but
and I don't know if I would call it a generational shift, because we take it back to like the Huxtables, like they were the first, family with
Mhm.
money, and then we see like the Banks with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah.
Now, in most recent years, I cannot think of a Black TV family that's like middle to upper class in recent years. I think Blackish is one of the few. I would say Randall and Beth Pearson is another from This Is Us. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Black families that are well off with two parents in the household, the nuclear family, if you will. I don't know if that's something that we currently have today
Oh, like in media.
in media. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I really can't think of any shows. Well, I don't even know if it was a two-parent. Marlon had a show, that one show I forgot, or like House of Pain. Oh, well, you said Wealthy Child. So,
Yeah.
I'm like, I know a couple, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if they're giving that echelon. But I guess when I was thinking of generation, I don't know, because I don't even know when the show comes out. But we had like the Good Times Child. They was struggling. They was Poe. Okay.
Mhm,
Then we had like
mhm.
the Jeffersons, and so actually, honestly, I haven't really watched that much of the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. I do know the show, but I do remember they definitely were wealthy and had money, and
Mhm.
the Huxtables were as well. I watched a little bit of those shows too. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's when it came out, because it came out like after Moesha. I don't know if it was the times. So that's why I said there always has been shows about it. Because I think of Family Matters. Now that wasn't like, they weren't like so well off, but I think of
But they did well for themselves.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think of intergenerational too, because the grandma was there, child, the aunt was there. It was so many
That is
kids in
true.
the house.
Mhm.
I was like, oh my goodness. But yeah, I think that's also what we're lacking, is like we don't really get these good shows. And then when we do get good shows, they get canceled.
Yes.
So yeah, we don't really get these good shows to show black nuclear families, which I mean,
I don't
there's
think they want
reason for
to show
that.
'em.
You
If
know what?
I don't think they want to show them.
Yeah, they don't want to show. So I'm like, they don't want to show those parts of the family. Like they don't want to show the black family. Is what I was trying to say. So
Mhm.
yeah, I definitely agree. Um, I was gonna say if we can talk about this, but I was like, it might be kind of hard because Bo is married, but talking about talking about dating or lack of a desirability, um, having motherhood tied to desirability. We didn't really see Nikki well, we seen her chasing, Professor Ogilvy. I think she tried to talk to some people, but that was kind of hard. But having Rainbow, like how does marriage influence Rainbow's role and identity as a mother? I don't really feel like they focus that much on their relationship versus like,
They did in a couple. It was like a few episodes. At one point, they were
oh,
going to be separated.
okay. I
Yeah.
do remember that actually.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and I think that's the cool thing about this show is like you see the ebbs and flows of life, you see the ebbs and flows of parenthood and of marriage. And I think from watching the show, that was one of the first times where Bo wasn't necessarily thinking about her being a mother first because of what was happening in her marriage. Now when they were making the decision on whether they should be separated or not and having to have those conversations with the kids, yes, but I do think uh Nikki and Bo approached their relationships differently because one was in a stable marriage, whereas the
Mhm.
other was being a pick me, for being honest here. Like,
Literally. Oh, she said Nick. Oh, Kim. Nikki was going to marry Johnny. Yeah, I was like, I know she dated a little bit, but she was so focused on Professor Ogilvy, but I know she dated a little bit in the show. I just couldn't remember who it was. So yeah. But I do remember I do remember the conversation about the separating thing. So that's good. Okay, and so kind of like wrapping it up, we have like the media impact and the legacy part. So how do you feel like the Parkers influenced early perceptions of black motherhood in media?
I don't think they did at all.
Oh, okay.
Like, no, I mean, whenever, and not that I've talked to everybody in the world, but I've talked to quite a few people and gotten a lot of responses, over thousands of responses when it comes to like TV moms. Nobody says Nikki Parker. Nobody.
And that's what you were saying, like Nikki didn't show up as a mom. Like she didn't
I
show up
don't
as a
think she did.
she
No,
didn't show up as a mom. And
no.
that's very interesting because I mean, some moms don't show up as a mom. They're
Mhm.
so busy focusing on their self and doing their own thing that they're really not a mom, honestly.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
lack of there or whatever it is, but I can see that because like you don't we're not like introduced like, oh well, like how Dre introduced the family, like we're just like thrown into the show and we
Mhm.
just kind of realize that Nikki is Kim's daughter. Yeah, well, Nikki is Kim's daughter. We
Yeah.
just kind of just realize it. So
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So I don't think there's any lasting impact. And I hate to say it because I do love me some Monique. Let me tell you something. I love Auntie Monique, but I don't think Nikki Parker just made a huge
hmm
difference.
and I think it's a funny show though, so that's interesting. Do you think Blackish modernized or evolved like the black family representation?
I don't do I think it evolved? I think it reminded
Mm-hmm.
because, like I said, the Huxtables were the first Black family that was well off, two-parent household, doctor, lawyer, like the Huxtables were the blueprint when it comes to well off Black families on TV. And then jumping a few decades later, years later, we have the banks, right? And so I would say Blackish reminded us that, hey, there are Black people that are well off. There are Black families with two-parent households, with parents who have careers, with parents
Mm-hmm.
can afford to put their kids in private school and
Mhm.
pay for field hockey or whatever the case may be, that are not struggling, that do not fit the stereotype that is typically out there about Black women and Black families in media.
I think, not to change the subject. Well, I think a show that's coming out now, because I didn't watch Blackish when it first came out. But that was like my reality, like living with parents who had careers and different things like that. So you kind of
Mhm.
always don't know the outside. Like you can see the media, but it's like when you live it that day, you're like, okay, like this is normal to me, right? So it's normal to see this to me, but it's not normal for
Mhm.
everybody else. But I think we were talking about the shows earlier. I think one show that's kind of doing it now, although it's not a lot, is Forever. Forever. The show
I have
on
not seen that
Netflix.
show.
Oh, okay. It's so cute. It's by Mara Brock-Akil.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I've seen
And
about
yeah,
it.
and well, I think the husband is a entrepreneur. I think he owns, now, don't quote me, but I think he owns what is it called? A restaurant. He owns a restaurant, or he's a chef, and then the mom does like something like is it a professional thing, like
Mhm.
professional setting too. So I'm like, I would think Forever is not really focused on the parents, it's really focused on like teenage love, but the parents are well off. But the girl, her mom is a single mother,
Mm.
that dynamic too. Single mother, not really paying attention, just trying to navigate life, versus
Mm.
the kids who have the support. They got the nice house. He got a car for his birthday. He playing basketball. His mom's like pushing him to like go to school, and like, and he's like, he doesn't really want to go to school, but so I think that's kind of, people like were drawn to that because they like the dynamic of that show. But you should check it out. It's
Mhm.
called Forever. It's like 10 episodes, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, regular Mike. Thanks for joining. Um, what was I gonna say? Sorry. Oh, since we talked about like Nikki Parker, like not really being a mom, do you feel like she was in the show for like comedic relief? Or do you feel like Kim was comedic relief?
Well, I think they both were. Like, I mean, the show was called The Parkers, so it was about their family, albeit small.
Mhm.
It was still about their family. I think it was a different representation of a mother-daughter relationship that I'm not sure we've seen in media before up until that.
Mhm. Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I was like, Kim was actually very funny to me. I didn't really think, because some people say she was misunderstood, but since you're like, you find out that she's a mother in the show, I don't know if I could see where she was in different comedic relief, but it is like we're following these. Honestly, it's like we're following Loki. They feel like they were sisters, but I mean it was mother and daughter. But we're following these people
Mhm.
navigating, trying to get through college, trying to figure out what they're doing in their life. So I could see both parts of it being like kind of funny. They both being like comedic relief. So yeah. And but with Rainbow, it's like kind of like that's the more acceptable. Do you feel like that was like the more acceptable version for mainstream medium, like mainstream media, where she's married, she has these kids, she has a good career. People probably were more like tuned into that versus like the single parent narrative.
Well, I think you got to think about it in terms of audience, right? Like The Parkers was not written for mainstream media. The Parkers was written for Black folk who
Okay.
followed Moesha because it was a spinoff of the show Moesha.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Blackish, that was for mainstream media, just given the fact that it was, on ABC, a major television network.
Hmm.
There's white people that can tell you about Blackish. I don't
Yeah.
know how many white people can tell you about the Parkers. So, do I think the show, the family, the Johnsons on Blackish are more palatable to white people? Yes, absolutely. If you were to ask, anyone of the Caucasian descent, specifically in the South, they would call them the good Negroes. Educated, got money, the
Mhm.
parents are married, the family is well taken care of. So yes, they were more palatable to mainstream media. At the same time, the show was crafted beautifully in a way where they could have those candid conversations about being Black and what does that mean for this family and the things that Black people go through. Dre had those conversations all the time with his
Yeah.
coworkers.
Uh-huh.
Or even in Bo's case, what does it mean to be biracial? I am white and I am also black, but I don't feel like I'm white enough for the white people because they're gonna see me as black, and I'm not black enough for the black people because they don't see me as fully black. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I do think that we have to consider just, the audience that the shows were written for, as well as the network support that Blackish got.
Most definitely. I do agree with the never support because where was that? Agree. Parker's was in an era where black TV was king. And also you were saying that it's a spinoff of Moesha, which is also interesting too. Also, there was a lot of like comedians getting shows and people love Monique already. So
Yes,
they were tuning in
exactly.
for Monique. We don't know if the other, people knew Monique.
Right.
Or were like tuned into Monique.
Yeah, yeah.
Nikki did show up as a mom, in my opinion. She went back to school, which is amazing because she had to be a mom. So she put off college to take care of Kim. Yeah, I do agree with her coming like going back to school and everything like that. But within the conversations and different things like that, I feel like Nikki only got on Kim like a couple times, or she tried to get on a couple times, and Kim would just like brush it off. But it's like, no, girl, like I'm your mom, so I don't feel like Nikki might have had enough boundaries as being a mom.
Yeah, because again, I think, my mama used to tell me all the time, I'm your mama, not your friend.
Hmm.
Not at all. And with Nikki, I think she blurred the lines a lot.
Yeah,
Like, you were supposed to be teaching, you were supposed to be modeling for your child, and you're in here getting into a whole bunch of shenanigans. And more often than not, the shenanigans associated with this man that you are chasing.
yeah.
Right? And your daughter is repeating this behavior, and then y'all are getting into shenanigans together. So it definitely, to me, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. So I love, the differences of opinion, but I don't think Nikki was that much of a disciplinarian, didn't
Mm-hmm.
have much authority over
Mm-hmm.
Kim. Not saying that she had to show up as an authoritarian, because that wouldn't have worked with Kim. But
Yeah.
there, if I think on the outside looking in, you'd be like, oh, that's her sister,
Yeah.
not,
Mm-hmm.
not her mother. Yeah.
I guess it was too polished to me. That's so funny. Okay, and the last one as we wrap it up, I wanted to ask because you talk about TV mothers
Yes.
within the book. What gaps still exist in how Black motherhood is portrayed on TV, in your opinion?
All of it.
Oh,
So I'll take it a step back. Well, let me, in research or in media? Which one?
oh, in media, like yeah, what gaps still exist, like yeah, about
Mm,
Black motherhood in the like, I guess lack of TV shows. Like, what gaps do you feel like still exist?
what gaps do I feel like still exist? Well, I feel like over the years, we have had a fairly good representation of different experiences. We've had married Black mothers, we've had single Black mothers, we've had widowed mothers, as I'm thinking about Florida Evans from Good
Oh.
Times.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know if we are missing something. I don't know if there is a gap per se in terms of Black TV moms. I do think what we see specifically in commercials, and I know it's not TV shows, but commercials, it's still media. I'm
Mhm.
seeing a lot of like interracial couples in commercials. And
Oh.
I think that is media's way of being diverse. It's always like a Black mom and a white dad, or like a Black dad and a white mom, right? And so what I'm seeing in terms of commercials and advertisements, unless it's McDonald's or Walmart, but that's a whole nother conversation in itself, I think there's a lack of nuclear Black families that are being shown within commercials and whatnot.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to go the other way, actually. Ooh, sorry, excuse me.
Mhm.
I thought you were going to say that there's not that many like Black women, or like even Black women with white men like shows. That's what I thought you were going to say, like that.
Oh, no, no.
You're like, commercials. I don't even watch. I don't like be seeing commercials that much anymore. But that's interesting that you.
Mhm.
I thought that's what you were going to say when you were talking about that. I think that some of the gaps that still exist in how Black motherhood is portrayed on TV. Well, I feel like there's always gaps when there's not that many shows, honestly. Like, so I feel like we have seen the upper, we've seen the poor. I feel like in the middle, like I feel like we don't really have in the middle right now. Like how we have like Family Matters,
Yeah.
or like in the middle. I'm trying to think of there's another show, or even like Sister Sister. I think that within the shows we think are we're not taught about like entrepreneurship that much, but you see a lot of Black entrepreneurs, and so we did see it in Sister Sister, but I don't really know if we see it in that many other shows about like the parents being entrepreneurs
Mm.
in that space, and then are like just like CEOs of companies are like top firms. I don't really feel like we seen that much when it comes to Black motherhood. Also, I think that we should be able to see different perspectives, like if well, I guess this will be lack of motherhood, not trying to be funny, but maybe like a family who decides not to have children, because a lot of people are being child free now and
Mhm.
having those conversations. So it wouldn't show motherhood, but it will show a family of like, what does it look like when you don't choose to be a mom? I feel like that could kind of be missing with the new generation of the wave of like how people are choosing not to be mothers, or even like adoption and stuff like that. Like I think like seeing a Black family adopt people, like adopt kids from somewhere else, or just like showing that process, because we know a lot of kids, we know adoption is out there, we know a lot of kids do get adopted, but I haven't really seen that in like the motherhood space, and that could be all across, honestly. But I'm speaking in the Black, I haven't seen that.
I see the last example I can think of is Beth Pearson from This Is Us. So
Ooh.
they originally had like a foster daughter, Deja, who they eventually adopted. And that was my first time actually seeing two Black parents making the decision to foster or adopt a child in television.
Oh, see, I didn't watch This Is Us, but I did watch The Good Times, and Walona did it. But um,
Mm,
yeah, so
mhm.
and I'm like, we haven't seen it then, but I didn't watch This Is Us. Um, I can't even name a prominent Black mom as of late, other than Aunt Viv from Bel Air.
That's
Um,
true.
mhm.
That's true, especially not in mainstream media. Um, and I know, there's so many layers as to why we're not seeing that, right? I know there's not as many Black writers, that we would like in those rooms. And even when white, I'll say it this way, you can tell when a white person has written a Black character. Like we could just tell, right? And
Mhm.
so that's a really good point. We don't really have those, highly respected or aspirational Black TV moms anymore. But I
Yeah.
think also because the landscape of TV is changing.
Mhm. And I was like, I feel like it's more. Oh, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, go ahead.
I was like, I feel like it is more towards like kind of female friendships, kind of like you see girlfriends, you see Harlem. I mean, well, you I wouldn't think of Black Motherhood, but the game. I mean, someone did have a kid, but that wasn't the premise of the show. But so I feel like it kind of turned to that. Like, there's Harlem, there's those. I feel like it's more like female women, like female led, like friendship angle shows versus more of like the nuclear family shows.
Yeah, that's
In
true.
my thing,
And we
yeah.
haven't mentioned Tyler Perry. I know that he does, write Black TV moms, Black characters, all the things.
I love
That's like the only I think he's done great things for our community.
Yes, the House of Pain, is that what you're talking about?
House of Pain, I think there might be some other
Wow.
shows
We didn't
that
talk about
he's read. I have not watched any of his recent things, but from clips I've seen on social media, I do believe he has written some Black TV moms that represent like a range of experiences, if you will.
Oh, okay. I was like, I grew up watching House of Pain. I watched Meet the Browns. I liked House of Pain a little bit more than
Yeah.
Meet
Oh, I'm
the
talking about like now, like
Okay,
his catalog now.
oh, yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know any shows that he's written now. All I know is Black.
Oh, girl, there's so much more.
Oh, there is. All I know he did Black is
Yes.
Our Beauty is Black. That's the only show I really know.
Oh, no, there's, like, a whole catalog.
Oh, there is? I
Yes,
did not know. The
yes.
Wife from Paradise had no screen time as a mom. Looking
She
forward
did it.
to that in season
Yeah,
3.
that's gonna be interesting how that plans out in season 3.
Yeah. I don't even watch Paradise, so maybe I'll have to watch that one day.
Girl.
It's on Hulu, isn't it? I don't have Hulu. It's too,
Oh,
and that's nothing. It's too many different. Like, can we go back to cable? I like
that's
all the networks need to be on the thing. I gotta pay for this one, pay for that one, pay for this one. Like, it's just too much. And you gotta
it's
keep
a lot
up with.
going on.
You gotta keep up with all the different ones, and that's why I don't know. And then now BET Plus went away. Now it's on Paramount. That's so rude. But it's just, and so that's another thing. Even with media, it's like now people they're not making that many shows. They're not making them longer because they don't do ads no more. They're trying to get you to buy the thing, so they're just putting out different shows. So
It's true.
it's like TV is going a different way. You see Issa Rae, she like doing reels on TikTok. I mean, not reels on TikTok, but it's like short form on TikTok. So it's like TV is going a different way now, and so you got to have 10 different streaming services and remember what shows go on which platform.
Yeah,
Just to,
true.
just to have a good show. Get it together, Alicia. Yeah, I honestly didn't know nothing about Paradise, but I'm really a sitcom girl. That's really me, and we don't have no more sitcoms, and it really just makes me so sad. I'm really a sitcom girly. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just not
They're
what
not here
mainstream
no
media
more.
is pushing out.
I
So,
so
yeah.
I don't know what else to watch.
Well, girl, you gonna keep talking about media. You gotta get hip to
Yeah, I
all
know.
the
I gotta watch
other.
all the other stuff. I am watching some. I'm
Yes.
watching the old show now. I'm watching First Wives Club because I never watched it before. I mean, I'm watching. They're not. Well, I watch Divorce Sisters. That shows motherhood. Divorce Sisters actually shows motherhood a little bit more. So I do watch other shows. I was just saying, I'm like my heart is sitcom, but I watch
Mm,
Divorce Sisters. I watch stuff on Peacock. And it just really depends, like kind of like what the show is about.
mhm,
But I am kind of watching older shows so I can get up to date because it's so sad. I really like sitcoms.
mhm.
But yeah, thank you all for joining. I think this was a really great conversation. If y'all have any comments or questions about it, put it in the chat. If you're watching the replay, make sure you like the live and do all the things, subscribe. Is there anything that you feel like we didn't touch on that you would like to talk about before we wrap up?
No, I think we covered it all when it comes to those two TV moms.
Okay, yeah. So do you have a favorite one? Rainbow or Nikki?
I don't have a favorite one because neither one of them would be good moms for me.
Oh, okay.
And that's just because my personality, what I need, things of that nature. Like they just wouldn't be good moms for me. So
Oh,
I'm pretty,
you
I'm
wouldn't Rainbow wouldn't be a good one for you? Oh,
no.
because of her I can see identity.
No, no, she wouldn't be. Now, I do appreciate how she's in tune with the developmental needs of each of her child and she allows her children autonomy to explore and all those things. That aspect is great. But I just don't think being raised by Rainbow would have been beneficial for me.
I know, and I do think about that now when you see like a lot of mixed kids. It doesn't make a difference. Well, I'm not mixed, I don't know, but it may make a difference. It might not make a difference. I don't know. But when you see Rainbow, she's kind of like 50-50. So she's 50% black, 50% white. But her kids are really like 70% black,
Mm-hmm.
5% white.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it is. And so from her lens, if like being raised by like a biracial mom, but it's like I'm more black, they're gonna you see them kids, and honestly, I'm like with Diane and the boy, how they're twins, but it's like you see them, you're gonna think they're black more. Marcus maybe Zoe could kind of just look light skin, like she might not be mixed, like she could kind of get both,
Mm-hmm.
um, just as the character. So thinking about that perspective of if she's thinking about I'm mixed, but I have these different lenses. But it's like at the end of the day, your kids with the one drop rule is what I'm trying to say. They're going to say your kids are black.
Mm, yeah,
Kind
that's
of
true.
have that perspective. I think I would just like Nikki. I just like the, I think Nikki. I think the Parkers was just funny. Like it's just a good comedic relief show. Don't know if I want her to be my mom, but I think it would be funny to be like, what in college with my mom? Like how would that be? But um, so yeah, that's kind of what I would say about that. But yeah,
Mhm.
them know where they can follow you at, support your book, and all the things.
Yes. So if you want to stay up to date, you can follow me on TikTok, Threads, and Instagram at Imani, IMANI underscore Steele, STEELE. And then my debut book, Unmothered by Black Mothers, which is rooted in the personal experiences of 17 Black daughters across different generations who talk about being detached from their Black mothers and what that experience is like. You can purchase it across major retailers. So Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Walmart, Books A Million, whatever the case may be. If you go to my social media platforms, there is a link in my bio which says ordered unmothered by Black mothers. So yeah, lots of different ways to order it. So
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining the first Sunday series. I really appreciate it. If this is your first time here, my name is Alicia. I meant to introduce myself in the beginning, but I'm the host of Black Girl Den Podcast, a podcast about all things womanhood with the media lens perspective. Tomorrow, if you are interested, we're doing a main character Monday series where we're talking about girls need love. We're diving into main characters of the show. And we are here every Wednesday with new episodes where women are sharing their voice through their passion. And so subscribe and share this with a friend or a sister or someone who loves TV and loves media. We'll see you next time. Bye.
bye.